Can you do? Can you recite Yoda lines as Christopher Walken?
Yes. Try not. Do not. There is no try.
That was the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Hey, Anthony, where'd you get this podcasting stuff from?
It fell off the back of a truck.
Help! I thought they were gonna make me, but they're gonna shoot me in the back of the head like Joe Pesci.
We're back on Breaking Bread, and today we're here with Rob Franzese, a.k.a. the Real Life Peter Griffin. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Boppity boopity beepity boppity. Boppity boopity. It's an honor to be on here. I've been watching you guys and was always hoping I'd end up on the show. I love your Breaking Bread logo.
Thank you.
Second best show of all time.
Yeah.
After The Sopranos.
100%. I'm glad you said that. We're starting off on a great note.
Sopranos, #1 show.
Oh, for sure.
Got the show with that. Sorry.
Yeah. You wanted to put it out there.
I had to.
Yeah.
It's a public service announcement.
Right.
That's already going to get trolls.
I don't care.
The troll
No, it's arguably
Social media is like World of Warcraft. You get the trolls, you get the social justice warriors. You let them battle it out.
well, like you have people who say that The Sopranos was the greatest series of all time, and then you have people who are wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
The respect, some of the guys, where they been? Had to represent it.
That is so. You know what? So before the show, Rob was cracking us up with impressions, and he did Tony Soprano. He did the Gandolfini impression.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm wondering, but does he do the Silvio impression? And not a lot.
When I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Yeah, it's because that.
But Michael, is it true? No.
You ski foos.
Because it's the face. It's the face too.
That's it. You got it. You got to turn into the character. I actually got to meet him once.
So yeah.
Really
Was he
nice.
cool
Steve
guy?
Van Zandt.
Yeah.
They had a Vinny Pastore was doing a comedy night in the city one night.
Him?
We decided to go down there, and Stevie Van Zandt showed up. I'm like, holy shit, there's Silvio, and everybody else was afraid to talk to him. I'm gonna go up to Silvio. I was like, Mr. Van Zandt, I got to tell you, Silvio is one of my favorite characters of all time. Thank you. And then I said, can I get a picture? Yeah, sure.
And then you
Got a picture with him.
and then you come to find out that's just his face.
That's it. He's just like that.
His hairpiece is wild in that.
You're gonna show up.
Wild.
And get the fuck out of here.
I didn't know it was a hairpiece until I saw Stevie Van Zandt like on the news, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, he's always with the do-rag. I learned, like,
Whole time.
did you know he's like a member of the E Street Band? Like Bruce Springsteen's
You didn't know that?
You didn't know
No,
that?
I knew
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I'm saying, I knew he didn't know. Yeah,
You didn't know
he's the
that?
lead guitarist. I think he's the lead guitarist.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Greg.
very multi-talented. Is there any impression that you can't do?
My kryptonite is voices that were done by women. So,
Okay,
Well, yeah.
that makes sense.
like, I can't. The only one I could kind of do is like Marge Simpson. Only you don't have to say Jay.
Yo,
Only Jay Simpson.
Wow.
A lot of voices. I've been doing them since I was a kid. I always found it to be entertaining. That people could do voices. My brother, I was actually the one that started it for me.
Really?
He's 10 years older than me. And I grew up on Sesame Street and all
Right.
that stuff. And he used to do the Grover voice for me. And then I remember finding out Frank Oz was not only Grover, he was Yoda, he was Miss Piggy, he was Fozzie the Bear. Like, one guy did all those voices. Then you find out that Mel Blanc did all the Looney Tunes. And like, holy shit, these are all the people I looked up to. And I remember seeing the E.T. movie when I was a kid. And the older brother could do the Yoda impression, and I always thought that was funny too. So I guess I kind of just started picking up on it. I would watch Looney Tunes. Yeah, what's up, Doc? And just kind of watch along. And Rabbit season, duck season, fire. You're despicable.
So is
fantastic.
What is going
it is
on?
well it's you became a fan of cartoons and in essence became a fan of all these different characters and the voices. But
And one of my biggest heroes in the world was Robin Williams, and he
oh
was
yeah,
a cartoon personified. And I kind of
Right.
think of myself as a real life cartoon, and it's like, he's definitely one of my heroes for sure. And that I think bringing that kind of energy into the mundane of everyday life is really what keeps people going a lot of days. And I get fan mail all the time that tell me, I've been going through a tough time, and something as stupid as going, and people go nuts over that stuff. It's not no skin off my nose, but it means something to somebody else, and I've kind of been empathing that over the last 11 years plus doing this Real Life Peter Griffin thing. It's like it's like
You've been
therapeutic for me.
You've been at it 11 years.
Well,
October of 2012 was the very first time I ever dressed as Peter Griffin in public. I went to New York Comic Con the day before with my friends, dressed like Western Ghost Rider, and my head couldn't have been hotter if it was actually on fire. And I ended up getting heat stroke at the show. So to be more comfortable, I found the shit in my closet to be Peter, and I started doing the voice at the show. And I can actually tell you exactly the moment that he was born. I was at Artist Alley, and they had these ATMs over there. A lot of the businesses are cash only, and they'll give you a little break if you pay cash. So when the money came out of the machine, something's clicked in my mind. I was like, oh, my God, I won. And everybody within earshot turned around. They're like, holy shit, that's Peter Griffin. So I just started talking like him the whole day. I didn't break character for 5 hours.
Wow.
My friends nuts. It was hysterical. And, it's been a hell of a ride. I've got some really cool people.
Had you been a fan of Comic-Con before then, because you grew up on cartoons?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You and your brother, right? Yeah.
And He-Man and G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles.
So you had been attending Comic-Con for a while.
Yeah, there used to be a small convention called Icon on Long Island.
Right.
I'm going back 2000, 2001.
Oh, wow.
I started going to these cons with my brother because he was into that same stuff too. He was the one that introduced me to all that stuff in the first place. And we would go there. We got to meet Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca, and a bunch of people at those cons. I thought that was cool. You get to meet the people that were in the movies. And
100%.
And I never thought, they stopped doing that convention. Heartbroken. But then, New York Comic Con started getting bigger. And in 2010, no. Was it 08 or 10? I went with my brother, and we didn't dress up or nothing. And it was a big, fanfare and all that stuff. Got to meet Luke Ferrigno that day, and it was kind of crazy, and it was fun to see all the costumes. But I never thought I was going to become a part of that kind of thing. And it was really funny because you got like lanyards with the pass for New York Comic Con. And it wasn't as big back then. So we ended up going to... what's that? Carmine's in Times Square.
Yes, the restaurant.
Yeah, where they have like the more to the Vam size.
Yeah, family style.
Yeah,
I love Carmine's.
Carmine's is great.
I'm not gonna lie.
My brother and I polished off a whole thing of linguine with scungili and calamari with the aioli. So forget it. But when we went in there, we had the things, and they must have thought we were press or something. They put us on this big table that seats like 10 people with the overlook at Times Square. I never got waited on so fast in my life. It was so funny. I was like, me and my brother had that. And then we ordered a tiramisu. They give us a whole fake. I was like, holy shit, how are we going to finish this? We couldn't. But it was, I got a kick at it. I was like, all right, well, that was my New York Comic Con experience. I don't expect to do that kind of thing again.
Really?
Because it was like a lot of money. And then
Yeah.
Fast forward a few years later, this was 2012. I was working at a credit union on Long Island. A bunch of coworkers formed this like blog, like geek blog, and they bought tickets for us all to go to New York Comic Con.
Oh, that's great.
We can get stuff for the footage and stuff to write about. And then there was like budding personalities and this and that, and the thing ended up folding before Comic Con even happened. But we already had all these tickets, so we decided to have fun with it. And that's really where this whole thing really began. And, it's all about taking chances that you wouldn't normally do.
It was your first time back at Comic-Con since childhood.
Yeah.
And you didn't just go back with a bang. You made a splash at Comic-Con. You became an icon of Comic-Con.
It's nuts. I never expected it to happen. And I figured that was my 15 minutes of fame. And then stuff started going viral on Reddit and that kind of stuff back then. The fries are done.
Rob, I really think that you should be doing freaking voiceover work. I
got
can
a
totally
face for
see
radio,
you doing it.
But yeah, that's ultimately the goal. That would be a dream, is to work as a voice actor in animation. I was never, I never chased like the acting, be an actor on film. That was never like my passion or anything like that. But the voice acting, because I feel like it's a freer form of acting, because you can become anybody. You don't have to be a giant purple monster to become a giant purple monster in voice acting. You can cut loose and let characters fly that you would never be able to pull off physically. And I think that's where a lot of the uniqueness of voice acting comes in. It's like you can look at a guy and he looks like every other mundane guy, and then he comes out with this voice, and you just don't expect it. And it's like, holy smokes, he brings something else to life. And I signed up for Steve Bloom's voice acting class online. And if you don't know who he is, he's a legendary voice actor. Actually has the Guinness World Record for most voice acting gigs in the history of voice acting. And if you watched Toonami back in the day, he used to be the robot Tom Toonami. He used to introduce the shows, and he was also Spike Spiegel on Cowboy Bebop.
If you had to pick something, if you had to pick like a dream gig or a dream show that you would want to be on, like what would you say it is?
It's a tough one, because there's a lot of shows. I would love to work on anything Star Wars. I'll be the Stormtrooper number 4 that gets shot immediately, like, off camera. I don't give a shit, as long as I get to wear the costume. That would be a dream project. But as far as voice acting, I think I'd have a lot of fun if I got to play the Thing from the Fantastic Four. They wouldn't even have to put CG on me. They could have saved money. I look like the Thing. It's clobbering time. That damn Yancey Street gang. I always loved that character. I resonated with the Thing. He's my second favorite superhero of all time, after Thor. Thor's number 1. Because I feel Thor all over,
So, with the Family Guy voices, out of all the characters, like, how many can you do?
There's a lot. I mean, I could do Peter. I could do Stewie. I can do Glenn Quagmire. Get you. All right. I can do...
A.K.A. Dave Damiani.
I can do Cleveland. I can do Consuela. No. Herbert the Pervert. Now you're starting to piss me off. I'm trying to think.
Can you give me an all right? A Quagmire all right?
All right.
I love it.
I mean, there's so many great voices on that show, but I've been, I love doing Consuelo, though. It's especially if something's annoying me, I'm like, no. Mr. Superman, no here.
The way she just shrugs it off.
I know I have money.
Yeah. I feel like Consuelo can get rid of anybody.
Dios mío. He's my baby. His name is Ernesto. But like I said, the voices have been a part of me for a long time. Even before I was a Family Guy fan or even heard of Family Guy. And it's taken me through. I think I kind of started coming out of my shell when I was in high school, and that's kind of like when I first started doing it for people outside, like the family and stuff. Because my mother used to embarrass the shit out of me as a kid.
She would say, like, do the...
Not even that. It was even worse. You'll appreciate this. She used to make me sing opera for company.
Oh, yeah.
She used to make me sing, and I hated singing. I didn't like it. I
but
used to
can?
do it as a parody because she was obsessed with Andre
Really?
Bocelli. So she just makes me go, Con te partirò. And she'll make me do this for people. And I would get so embarrassed. I would stand in the shed, and I didn't want to look at them. I would sing from the fucking wall, and people, it must have looked ridiculous. But that's the only way I would do it. And I think psychologically, that kind of got me ready for performing in front of people, because if I could do that shit,
Right, the shame was removed.
that was it, Now I don't give a shit. I'll start singing in the middle of my streams, or we have fun.
That's actually, that's
cool.
you just made me appreciate my mother a lot more. Just,
I was going to say.
And
I think she broke me.
Unfortunately, I lost my mother back in...
I'm so sorry.
Very sorry.
But she was very proud of the stuff that I did.
Very recently. I'm so sorry, Rob.
Yeah. It's tough losing a parent, especially like an Italian loses his mother. It's like he loses a part of himself.
Yeah.
But, you take the good and you take the bad, because I terribly miss my mother, but I don't miss seeing my mother in pain. And she was in pain for a long time.
I'm so sorry.
So,
sorry, brother.
But, that's where I get my sense of humor from. My mother was hysterical.
How great is it that you do something that brought your mother joy, you do it for so many people now.
Oh yeah.
The same way you said before that people are messaging you and saying that seeing you has turned their day around. That's such a beautiful way to honor your mother.
Yeah.
Continue to do that. That's a wonderful thing, Rob.
Staying alive for her, and then she never dies because she taught me how to cook. I'm fantastic. I always like to say I never trust a skinny chef, but she lives on in the recipes that I make, from the zeppelers we make for Christmas time, the pizzaghine we make for Easter, and
Wow.
because she was good with her little note cards and stuff. She had everything written down, and then when the pandemic hit and we're kind of all stuck in the house together, her and my father sat down and they went through a spiral notebook and actually wrote out all the recipes.
Oh, that's nice.
So you could see it nice. And I took it a step further and I took a picture of those so that God forbid anything happens.
There you go.
It's in the iCloud now.
It's backed
I
up.
pull it up and I put it on the television and, I say a prayer to my mother and I cook and
nice.
I think of every time I make the sauce.
Yeah, Tim Apple's got him
Yeah,
in the iCloud.
that's it.
That's great. That really is nice.
I don't know if this is I don't know if you ever got this before, but a lot of people say I don't look Italian at all. I didn't think that you were like Italian. Like when I saw
I'm
you
the
at
Irish
the
cousin,
Giglio
a
feast.
milkman's kid,
No, but
This
here-
guy's a Franzese. What the hell?
yeah. No,
I'm the Wonder Bread Wop.
surprised.
Wonder Bread Wop.
The disgrace to the Italian race.
No, look, I mean, no, but I like get that. So I totally. But when I first saw you at the feast, then that's when I first met you. You had the Giglio shirt on,
Yep,
and like
there we go. Had to
like the
represent.
Cornicello. I was like, damn, I love that he's repping right now.
Rob's family's from the
Funny
neighborhood.
Story. So it's not just the Cornicello.
The OG neighborhood.
My mother actually bought this in Florence back in 1975 when she went on vacation with my father before my brother and I were born. And then the chain was her brother's chain. It was a Cuban link. And he passed away from cancer back in 2007. He was my godfather. So I ended up having the Cornicello fit to this necklace, and I wear them both with me every day.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, we got a little matching thing going
That's
on
it.
there.
Look at that. Twinning. Look at that.
Look at us. About the voices that you do, it's so much more than that. The way you do an impression, and a lot of people will do a voice when they do an impression, but Rob has it nailed down as all the brilliant impressionists do. You have a way of capturing someone's inflections and someone's essence.
I'm so dedicated. I got fat to be Peter.
So
Method acting.
really, you are
Get
the
your heart out, Daniel Day-Lewis.
he beat me to it.
Love it.
He beat me to it.
I love it.
I was going to say he's the Daniel Day-Lewis of Comic-Con. You beat me to it.
Daniel Day-Lewis give himself diabetes for a role. No, I'm just kidding.
You are like one of the things I said or I asked you about earlier was like, a lot of people do impressions, say they have a good Christopher Walken impression. We all just saw the Super Bowl commercial, right? Where the whole commercial
There
is
were
how
many
people.
imitations. Only one real Christopher Walken. Wow.
The way
But it's just,
the way Rob avoids eye contact when he's doing the impression is that's how Christopher Walken is. It's so much more than a voice.
You got to be aloof a little bit when you say shit.
It's everything. It's
You got to
everything.
act out the part. You can't just half-ass it,
Right. What are your most requested impressions? Like once
obviously,
people know you do something, right?
Most people want to hear,
Obviously.
shut up, Meg.
Right.
That's number one. Say, shut up, Meg. Say, shut up, Meg. Or the surfing bird. Those are probably the top two. But outside of that, my friends love when I do, like, the Emperor from Star Wars.
Oh, you got to do that.
If they deflect the shield, will be quite operational when your friends arrive. And then you got to hit him with the sadistic smile. He's like,
Unlimited power.
unlimited power.
That was fucking great.
Senate.
That was great.
See, there's different emperors. There's
That was
like
fucking great.
the old feeble emperor from Return of the Jedi.
Is that one?
Fucking great.
Is that one of your favorite impressions to
I
do?
love doing it. Yeah.
That was fantastic.
And then Yoda. Yes, strong am I with the Force, but not that strong.
Can you do? Can you recite Yoda lines as Christopher Walken?
Yes.
Try not. Do not. There is no try.
That was the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Do you know this? Because something I just heard with Rob is that something I was able to tell is that there's really not much difference between Christopher Walken and Yoda.
That's it. They speak
It's
the
the
same
pausing.
way.
Right. They speak
Space queens, I am.
space queens. That's amazing.
We were talking about off camera before that your Peter Griffin impression is so good. It got the attention of some of the people at Family Guy. Could you talk a little about that?
They mentioned me in an episode of Family Guy. See, I didn't know if I was going to get sued when I first started going viral. So I made an IMDb Pro, and I reached out to Fuzzy Door Productions trying to get in contact with Seth just to make sure I'm not going to get sued. They said that they loved what I was doing. I came up in table reads, yada, 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 years later go. You know, everybody's flakier than a box of fucking cereal in Hollywood. But they ended up mentioning me in episode, season 17, episode 16, Behind the Booth. He's like freaking out that Lois is going to leave him, and then Seth MacFarlane like comes in the booth, not like physically, but like his voice, and he's like, you don't have to worry about any of those things because none of you are real. You're cartoons voiced by me, Alex Borstein, Mila Kunis, and Seth Green. He's like, wait, if I'm not real, then why does a fat nerd pretend to be me at every Comic-Con? He's like, don't mention him, only encourage him. I was like, yes. People were like, are you mad? I'm like, fuck no.
How
It's
could
like
you
getting
be
your
that-
song parodied by Weird Al. Come on.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
That's a huge compliment.
I'm canon on Family Guy now. Now I get to jack up my cameo prices.
I mean, you made it into Family Guy.
Yeah.
But that's like people don't realize how much of an incredible honor that is for someone who's a fan of cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
Who's a fan of the
On
show.
a cartoon. What's
On
not
a
to
show that
love?
One of the most
that you
famous
love.
cartoons ever.
It's nuts.
Adult cartoons.
So cool.
Like think about the celebrities and the politicians you now keep
yeah.
company with.
I'm up there with George Bush and the grape lady that fell.
Oh,
I can't breathe.
Hey.
One of my best friends, CJ, he's a professional wrestler in the indie circuit, and we were working out together for a while. And one of my favorite things to do was to make him break with Macho Man Randy Savage. Like, yeah, the Macho Man, I'm balance off fountain. Doesn't matter, I'm better than you are. 7 to a Slim Jim. Oh yeah. I would love to do that shit. While he's
That's
trying
so
to like,
great.
he's like just laying there with the bar, like tearing up, trying to get through those sets, and I would just love to make him break with it.
That's what I do to my cousin with the Schwarzenegger.
It's like Karrion Kross did with Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah.
He's got a good
Oh my
impression.
God.
Don't tell me you don't got 4 more reps in you. I was there. I was a frogman. So were you. I was doing golf.
A fog
It was-
man.
It's like I was doing tricep extensions in the Gulf of Tonka.
The Gulf of Tonka. It's such a great. You gotta really.
Body Ventura,
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I'm the governor of Minnesota.
9/11 was an inside job.
Job. Jesse Ventura. You know who Jesse Ventura
Yeah.
is? No. Oh,
Jesse the
God.
Body. He was Hulk
Jesse
Hogan
the
before
Body
Hulk Hogan,
Ventura.
essentially.
Yes.
and he ran for mayor, right?
He was the
Governor
governor of
of
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
He was the
I
governor.
ain't got
of
time to
Minnesota.
bleed.
Yeah.
He was in Predator, original Predator.
Yes.
With the huge cleft in his chin.
He's an absolute nut, but you don't want to question anything he says because he's still Jesse the Body Ventura. He's still
We
this.
can kill it.
Yeah.
I'm speechless.
Everybody's got an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
Oh yeah. Every time my cousin in the gym goes, does that feel good? That feels right? Yeah, I get the feeling of coming.
Great, I'm coming all the time.
Coming all the time.
Coming when they run. Get the pump on.
Get a good bump.
I thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was like a good for those people that like
I smoke my
became.
cigar.
Yeah, I like the way you dust the blinds. I'll get you pregnant.
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
I gotta ask you. I've always been curious. To ask you what's with the real life with freaking Lois Griffin.
Oh, Lois.
Yes.
Griffin. Yeah, she's one of my best friends, Mandy.
Is Mandy the original Lois Griffin to your Peter Griffin?
Before her. She
Right.
Yeah.
was, I started talking to her. I would say like on social media, I think we met on like in 2017, but we didn't actually physically meet until January or February of 18.
Oh wow.
And just so happened that she ended up having to move to Long Island temporarily because she had a flood in her apartment where she was living, and she was only like 20 minutes away from where I was living at the time. And we had already talked about doing Peter and Lois together. So she came over to the old basement studio, legendary, where I shoot all my grinds, my gears, and my podcast every Friday. And we made chemistry. I don't know. We were having fun live. We just went live and improv'd off of each other. You know, you can't put a script in front of me, but if you let me rip, I'll just turn it on, the razzle dazzle. It's one of the things.
The
that
razzle dazzle.
My friend Vin goes nuts over because he'll be like, Rob, all right, we got to do this, this, and that. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then he's like, he doesn't think it's going to happen. And then he puts on the camera and boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Just turn it on. I don't know where it comes from. That's it. I'm ready. I just improv my way through life.
That's a good talent.
You kind of have to when you have ADHD and no pills.
It's a great outlet.
It is.
It really is. I mean, you could be doing much less productive things in life than
believe
this.
me, I'm pretty unproductive.
I'm telling you, Rob. You know, you besides bringing a lot of joy to the world with your impressions, with your voices. I mean, the original content that you produce, and you know, you have a live show that you do, right, regularly.
Yeah, the Break Room podcast. We do it live on YouTube every Friday evening between like 8:30 and 9, because then we hit, you know, technical difficulties, you guys well know. So sometimes we run a little late, but we have a great time. It's me, my buddy Vin, Joe, and Chris, and we just shoot the shit. We almost called it 4 Fucking Opinions. That was going to be the original name of the show. But we didn't know if they were going to let us monetize with the name, with the F word in our name. So we're like, the Break Room. Because that's, you know, we all worked together, you know, and it's what we used to do. We used to shoot the shit in the break rooms. That's how we came up with the idea. But then it was like, how do we come up with a logo? And then it was a point we had more logos and episodes, and we had to make a decision. So we ended up making it like this black circle with Mjolnir in the middle, like the Thor hammer and stuff, because it's like the break room, but you know, you're taking a break.
I love that. The break room. I'm gonna manifest this for you, but I think that you said that you're into video games, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
I could picture you doing like voiceovers for Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
like for one of those crazy, like you know what I'm talking about, like one of those
Rockstar
crazy character.
games.
You know,
Yeah,
Rockstar's
please.
on Long Island too. They have studios.
Really?
What? Really?
I didn't know
They
that.
have certain studios on Long Island.
Why did my voice go up 3 octaves when I found out Rockstar's on Long Island?
Yeah, it is.
I turned into Mickey
I met
Mouse
people
when
that
you
work-
just.
I met people that work for Rockstar at different events. I'll be like,
Really?
I work for Rockstar on Long Island. I'm like, oh shit,
Really? Rockstar on Long Island?
that's a really funny story.
Where is it?
Where the hell is it?
Oh,
Is it in Bethpage? Something
yeah,
like that. I don't
it's
remember.
deep out in Suffolk, I think.
Yeah, but I ended up getting to meet the entire cast of Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's cool.
And I
That's
don't know
really
if-
cool.
I'm big into cowboy, you know, games and stuff like that. And my dad's old school with Gene Autry and all that shit. Like he grew up in all. He was born in 1950, so he was right in line for all that stuff. So when cowboy games always came out, I would go nuts. And there was this con that doesn't run anymore, unfortunately, called Great Philadelphia Comic Con, and they had the entire cast over there, and I do all their voices too. So I was hanging out with them, doing their voices for them, and it was hysterical because you said you guys played that game? You know Dutch Vanderland, like the leader of the gang.
I played the original Red Dead Redemption.
I played it.
So he was
for
the
like
bad
5
guy
minutes.
you're chasing after in that game.
Ah, okay.
Dutch.
Yes.
Yeah, so Dutch is like the leader of the gang, and the second game is actually a prequel. It's actually when they're all still a gang and kind of shows how
Okay.
it all fell apart. The main character you play is this guy, Arthur Morgan, that you actually don't see in Red Dead Redemption 2 because he's already gone. But the second game is a masterpiece of storytelling, but the voices are so unique because you get John Marston from the last game, and then you get Arthur Morgan's kind of down here, and you know, easy girl, you're all right, And then you get Dutch Vanderlyn, who's like, I have a plan, Arthur. Have a little goddamn faith. We're going to grow mangoes in Tahiti. And I'm doing all this shit for them. And Dutch Vanderlyn, the guy, the big, Ben Davis, his name is, he leans in, he's like, do me a favor, kid. Never contact Rockstar.
Really?
Whoa. So
I mean,
I mean,
well, what he's saying is like you could do all of
Yeah.
it. You could put us all out of a job.
yeah.
It was funny. It's just cool that I got to hang out with those guys. I love to meet voice actors.
You have such an ear and such a retention for all that. It goes to show you how much of a genius you really
play
are.
hours of the character, though.
We need to get you with Rockstar.
No, it's
Well,
more than that.
just,
There's people who play this stuff professionally on Twitch who can't do impressions
But
like
I
that.
do
That is
Twitch
a
as well, you know.
that is
I used
such
to
a-
say I used to
yeah.
Twitch, and then they took me off for Ritalin. But I do Twitch stream. They added Peter Griffin to Fortnite, so now I play. As
I saw
Peter,
that.
as Peter.
It's
And
hysterical.
People go nuts over these streams, and that's kind of been the whole resurgence of the internet and all that shit. And it comes in waves, you know. Like I'll get popular all of a sudden. When I made the first TikTok video, that shit went viral, and then Inside Edition interviewed me again. It was the second time they did that because I had first gone viral in 2015. It's just kind of funny how it just snowballs, and now with this whole Fortnite thing, my streams have been like I've been getting like 600 people watching me play video games. I'm like, this is wild. I never expected this. 'Cause I used to get maybe 10, 15 people if I was lucky. But I'm also my own worst enemy. I don't advertise for shit. You know, I'm a procrastinator to end them all, and then I'll just go live and do it. And it's like it takes more prep work to really be successful. Like if you want to let people know, you know, you got to let them know a week in advance or a few days at least.
I'm with you. I'm a
Posting shit like 20 minutes before. Hey, I'm going live in a few minutes, and then that doesn't help the guy that's stuck at work. You know,
yeah. Rob, I'm with you. I'm like a non-starter.
it's terrible.
That's why I hire Anthony.
I need, you know,
Anthony is like my North Star with all
There you
this.
go.
You know? Otherwise, I'd be sitting home twiddling my thumbs waiting for the next show.
Oh, forget it. And,
Yeah.
and it's between the
Thank you,
ADHD
Sam.
and the procrastination and all
For
that
real.
shit. It's lucky that I got anywhere. Which I mean, you got your own. You know, you got to be on the TV and all that stuff with the singing and all that.
Yeah, I was pushed into all that though. My uncle got me to sing and then pushed me to do that and then pushed me to try out for American Idol, and then American Idol happened and they had called me off of that to come audition for America's Got Talent. I mean, I was kind of motivated and led to all that in a lot of ways. I mean, in a way, sure, you know, I got to do it, but in a lot of ways, I was kind of, you know, here, go here, go here, go here.
They reached out to me, the America's Got Talent people. They wanted me on there, but I had already established a platform for myself.
Yeah, but why not?
Fine print and shit.
Oh yeah, it's
You got to kick up like a certain percentage to them.
no.
I-
If you win,
If you win, I mean, who's going there to lose? You know? You got to fight.
listen, pal,
You got to do it, bro.
you gotta
do
do it.
But
But
it's
at the end of the day,
Years ago.
at the end of the day, you do what's right for you. There were a lot of acts on America's Got Talent who were professionals, who were guys doing it already.
Sure.
And you know, who kind of almost needed to lose. It was like, all right, I want to get this notoriety. I want to get out there. I want to get my name out there and get it on a broader thing. And I'm already at the time they were already booked on tour, doing this or that, or booked
They like
in.
to call it. They want to earn their table at Comic-Con. You know, it's
Right. I mean, in a way, if you did a show like America's Got Talent, you would just be promoting what you're doing now and bringing more people to the Comic-Cons. Is that something that has kind of grown from this impression at the ATM at 2012 Comic-Con? Now are people coming to Comic-Cons to see you?
oh sure.
And
I get booked to go to
Mandy, right? Is her name?
Mandy,
Yeah. And
Real Life Lois. In fact, the two of us are going to be going to Niagara Falls in June, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Niagara Falls.
Comic-Con. Dolph Lundgren's going to to be there. I'm very excited.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
Do you do a Dolph Lundgren impression?
He dies. He dies. And
It's fantastic.
Robert Patrick is going to be there too, because he's great. He's not only he's one of the Terminators, but he was also in The Sopranos. If you remember, he was the one that owned the They had the gambling addiction problem. That
Oh,
this
yeah,
kid went
yeah,
to
yeah.
school with AJ. And
Right,
he
right,
got
right,
in
right.
debt with Tony. And
Yes, he owned the sporting goods store. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's in a lot of movies.
Get back in your fucking hole.
Yeah, exactly. He just runs away. He's like, "You're doing a good job."
It's so good.
So yeah, it's gonna be a
Wow, he's gonna
star-studded,
sell. That's great.
convention. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for that.
And you're on the bill.
Yeah,
I
Wow.
don't want to go.
yeah. Niagara Falls. I mean, it's right there. You know, you
Comic-Con
I don't want to go.
looks to. I haven't been.
you never been to a convention.
I've never been to a convention.
If you went the
I shouldn't say I've never been to a convention. I went to Sopranos Con or
True.
Mob Movie Con, whatever it was called.
I remember that.
I went to the 20th anniversary thing for The Sopranos when they had the entire cast out there and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
I went
yeah.
to that too.
Kind of trippy because then I saw James Franco. I took a picture with him.
Wow.
Because I think he was in a play with Gandolfini's son, and
Oh, there's the connect.
too. So they kind of went to support him. So I saw Gandolfini.
But it looks like a tremendous amount of fun.
Furio.
These
You got a B on your act.
these Comic Cons look like a
They're a
really
trip.
it looks like a trip.
My dad.
And I'm sure that I have a different experience than a lot of other people because I'm kind of a character myself. So I'm kind of going there with it. I'm not just an average fan just going up. I'm somebody that has a table there, and so I kind of have a little bit of the in.
A table at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
That's tremendous.
That's huge.
But I'm doing it a long time, and
What does your brother think of all this?
my brother thinks it's hysterical. He tells everybody, and what's really
Your brother brought you to Comic-Con.
my brother's a funeral director now. So I like to say my jokes knock him dead and he buries him.
Which home?
He's at Boyd Spencer in Babylon.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, he's
Get
good.
10% off.
No, he's really good. My brother will take care of it. And I'm not
So
saying that because I'm his brother.
Your brother's a funeral director,
Yeah.
and
Can I say how proud I am of my brother though?
sure,
Yeah.
My brother is like the hardest working person I know.
the funeral director's an amazing job.
In business because
Oh.
he started off. He went to school to Hofstra to be a journalist. Became a production assistant and associate producer for News 12.
Wow.
Found there was no job, money in journalism at the time.
Right.
Reinvented himself. Went back to school for a master's in secondary education for English. So he became a high school English teacher for 10 fucking years.
Wow.
And then in his 30s, decided he was not happy in the job and went online school to McAllister fucking university or whatever they are to learn the mortuary service craft. And let me tell you, they got to learn art because you got to reconstruct faces out of clay sometimes.
Right.
They got to learn business. They got to learn accounting. They got to learn all kinds of shit. Chemistry.
Well, besides all that, your brother's already learned how to be a teacher.
all this stuff.
Wow.
All this stuff. And he's written 2 books.
He's a published author.
He's a published author. Yeah, he wrote 2 books.
This is some family, the
Italian-American
Franzeses.
books. The first one's about my grandmother growing up in the Italian-American experience in Brooklyn.
What's the name of the book?
Love that.
Nettie Tales of a Brooklyn Nana.
Wow.
It's available on Amazon and all that stuff.
I'm gonna
All
check
the
it out.
bookstores. And then the
gonna buy
second
it.
one's about my father's father. That was my mother's mother. This one's about my father's father. It's called Pasquale. Tales of a Brooklyn grocer's son.
Wow.
And my great grandfather, the original Pete, which is kind of funny. My father's Pete, my brother's Pete, and my great grandfather was Pete. I'm the only one that's not Pete, and I became Peter Griffin. The fuck are the chances? But Pietro Franzese used to own Franzese General Goods on Humboldt Street in Greenpoint, and they knocked down the building to extend the BQE, so it actually doesn't exist anymore.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. But there's I have this old school, it was crazy, and I just bump into shit on the internet sometimes. We're scrolling, there's this old school photographer website had archive photos of the city from back in those days. And there's a picture inside the general store, my great-grandfather standing behind the register, and my grandfather as a little kid.
How great is that?
Store. So I ended up getting this Giganda poster printed of it like that, and I have it in my hallway. And it's kind of like, the first famous Franzese, I guess, in the neighborhood. Well, maybe not the first one. There's other Franzese.
Is it just the two of you and your brother?
Yeah.
Wow. Is your older brother?
Yeah. 10 years my senior year.
Wow.
Yeah, he was born in 78. I was born in 88.
You got it, but that's a great your brother's a great guy to look up to.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he must be incredibly proud that he brought you to Comic-Con,
He
and
loves
now
telling everybody about
and now here you are, and now you have a
He's got my
table at
business card.
Comic-Con.
And it's kind of hysterical because it's funny and it's not funny. Like even just recently, we went to a family friend. My brother grew up with the girl. Her father passed away, so we went to the wake. And you know, you're looking around, everybody's crying. You know, it's a wake, and the mother. The wife of the one that passed away starts going around telling, she's old school Italian, so she starts telling everybody he's the Peter Griffin of the internet. She starts making me do the voice at the wake.
At the
Standing
wake?
at the front of a wake, doing the Peter Griffin impression, and then I turn to the body. I'm like, sorry for taking away from your moment. Yeah. And when I tell you that every crying face turned into laughing in that room, you never know where you needed.
That sounds like a real Peter Griffin moment.
It is.
That
you
sounds
know?
like a complete Peter Griffin moment.
People are dying to get into this act, you know.
You know, one thing that you said that kind of dawned on me was I don't think people realize that this influencing thing, like you know, the concentration of everyone in like the Brooklyn, Queens area and all this stuff, is pretty relatively new. Like I would say it's about 5 or 6 years old. So that means if you actually do the math, you were probably one of the first.
Yeah, especially with like bringing Comic-Con to the forefront.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like cosplay royalty before me, like Yaya Han. She was a very famous cosplayer because she was also a seamstress and she made this elaborate costumes. And I was kind of in my own league, and I've always been in my own league as far as, yes, I'm a cosplayer, but I'm not making the costume.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm making the costume come to life.
right, 100%.
Like a lot of these people can look amazing as their character, but they're just walking around looking like.
But then they stick up. That's so funny.
But I love going up to somebody and be like, "Hey, how'd you going there, Batman? Why don't you just kill the Joker? I mean, how many people have to die before this guy?" You know, and people don't know what to say. You know, they just stand there like, oh, "This fucking guy is Peter Griffin."
I honestly think that's pretty funny when they're doing like interviews at Comic-Con. There's this huge this person spent like $12,000 on their elaborate costume, and then they like go to interview them, and they stick the mic, and it's like this crazy like headdress thing, and then you hear this very kind of
Oh, it's so funny. And, you know, I almost missed the days where I wasn't famous with it yet, because messing with people as
Yeah.
a leader without them expecting it
yeah.
was one of my favorite things. Because, like, just like that with the Batman, or you just, you know, look at that guy, he's, you know, fat Goku or something.
You're alive. You're there.
People like, oh my God. It takes them so off guard that it's like, oh my God, this is nuts. And now it's like, I remember the shift when it went from,
Yeah.
oh, shit, that guy's Peter Griffin to, oh shit, that's the Peter Griffin guy.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, now my reputation precedes me more than my stomach, and that's saying something. And,
You have this ability in the same way you do impressions, you know, and the same, I should say this, for the same reason you are so good at impressions. You have a way of bringing the character to life. That's just really unparalleled
and it's
by
so funny.
many
It goes
people.
back to like what you were saying with like
Yeah.
the characters, they don't do the voices and stuff. Like I remember one time this guy he had to be like 6'9", dressed like Jason Voorhees and like super intimidating. He's got this giant machete. He's got the blood on the mask and all that stuff. He just leans in. He's like, "I love your videos," and I'm like, "Oh my God, this takes you right out of the shit." And it's just so funny. It's, you know, and the celebrities that I've made laugh over the years is you know, I love doing something like that. Like when I met Billy D. Williams, who was Lando Calrissian in Star Wars, and he's like, "You do that voice very well," and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's fucking Billy D. Williams." And you know, if I had more money, I probably would have offered it to him to do a video if he would have been the cool side of the pillow for me in a video. Because I don't know if you remember that, where Billy D. Williams is the cool side of the pillow. He flips up the pillow and he's like, "Hello, Peter. Welcome to the cool side of the pillow." He's like, "Billy D. Williams."
Wow.
Fonzie loved it. You know, Arthur Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler was very cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah, he
That had to be really
gave me
cool.
the blessing. I was like, "Oh my God, I've been validated by Fonzieism."
It's amazing.
That was my favorite episode. Let us A.
Let us say. Fantastic, Rob.
I studied career with this whole thing, and it's just been I got to see a lot of cool places I never would have otherwise, and I've had a lot of adventures that aren't even on camera. Like if people knew the half the shit that I've done as Peter Griffin that I didn't have a camera for, that they would go nuts. Like when I met Roger Bumpus, who was the voice of Squidward, and this was at Atlanta, Georgia, for Dragon Con, which is huge. It's like nerdy gras. It's nuts.
Dirty crowd.
I'm telling you, it's like 4 days, and the hotel's shut down. The heart of Atlanta. There's a whole parade and stuff like
Oh,
that.
the peach tree.
Yeah, everything's Peachtree over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Peachtree, Peachtree Road, Peachtree your ass.
Yeah.
And I remember going over to him. I was like,
Hey, Squidward, are you finished with those errands? How about now? How about now? How about now?
he was like, all right. He's like,
Yay, now we can go jellyfishing. Ah!
and he's like, let's not and say we did. And I was like, God, I wish I was on camera.
That's amazing.
Rob, thank you so much for coming on the show, bro.
You're amazing.
for having me.
Rob, you were one of the most interesting people we've had on this podcast.
I think
so
this is
far.
my
I've laughed
favorite
that hard in a
podcast.
while.
I gotta agree.
I think
haven't
this is
laughed
my
this
favorite
hard.
podcast.